Hey, Bills Mafia. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look and listening to some of Tyreek Hill's most recent comments about the Buffalo Bills, saying that we're just like any other fan base in the NFL. You guys could see here, we're also going to be listening to some interviews of Tyreek Hill, talking about the game plan of the Miami Dolphins, how teams have faced Tyreek Hill in the past, what he struggles at, and much, much more. But you guys can clearly see here, Chris Brown says, looks like Tyreek Hill has issued a challenge directly to you, Bills Mafia. Going to have to prove him wrong Sunday. And here are Tyreek Hill's specific comments. Tyreek Hill says he's unfazed by playing in Buffalo. I just feel like it's not any different from any away game, Hill said. Are you kidding me? They got a great team. I feel like they have the fan base just like any other fan base. So it's going to be just like a normal environment, to us. So Tyreek Hill making light of the Buffalo Bills situation here, playing at away, Tyreek Hill coming to Buffalo. But guys, comments, questions, concerns. Jay, I see you in the chat. Get any questions, anything you want to say. Also answer on that poll. Will the Buffalo Bills be able to stop Tyreek Hill? But Jay has a comment here. I don't think they can. It's going to be very difficult. And I think the Bills will sling the ball right alongside the Dolphins, and our defense does show up like last week. We can win the game. That's a very nice comment. I agree. I think it really is going to eventually boil down to slinging it in this game, keeping up. But you listen to the Buffalo Bills players' interviews and what they said this week. Every time they have the ball, they want to score, right? That's what they ultimately want to do. So we're talking about long sustained drives, keeping Tua and that Tyreek and that offense on the sidelines, right? But I really think the Buffalo Bills' ultimate goal, no matter what, is always to do that. So we're kind of preaching something that they always want to do. You always want to have long sustained drives. You always want to win the time of possession. That's something that the Bills have already been working on. But ultimately, like Josh Allen said, and players, it's ultimately about scoring points. We have to score points. We have to capitalize. Even Josh Allen said, when we get into the red zone, it's not even about field goals. It's about touchdowns. We have to score touchdowns in this game and score points. So I love that comment, Jay. Very good comment. Kate says the weather is going to be perfect. Can't wait. 76, sunny, perfect day. Perfect day in Buffalo. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. But what I want to do is actually discuss a few things here and actually react to some of these videos. And Tyreek Hill gave a lot of information here. He's gone against the Patriots. He's gone against the Chargers, and we all know he's gone against the Broncos. And you listen to how the Patriots play them and other teams have played them, we could start drawing some conclusions here as to how to play the Miami Dolphins. The Denver Broncos, they played him so soft. They gave him Tyreek Hill specifically, they gave him 15 yards of space to do his thing as a speedy route runner, like almost exactly opposite of what you want to do. So there's a lot going into this game. I do have something here I want to show you guys really quick. You guys, I'm going to be doing the live play-by-play this week, and we got our dolphin. We got to squish the fish. We got to squish the fish here. We got our dolphin that we've been beating up on for years. Had to show that off. But what I want to get into is this video here and just listen to Tyreek Hill and what he says and how teams are going to play him. And I know the discussion there this week with Kaiir Elam potentially getting called up this week, keeping our other defensive backs fresh, but also keep in mind that Kaiir Elam is known to be a press cornerback. And if we're going to be pressing Tyreek Hill in this game to take away that first window, that first option to make Tua hold on to that ball a little bit longer, that is the right recipe to win for the Buffalo Bills. But how do you accomplish that? And will the Buffalo Bills be able to accomplish that? Make sure you answer on that poll. Also, let me know if you hear the sound coming in from this. I just want to start playing this so you guys can listen to what Tyreek Hill has to say. So you heard them right off the bat, playing bump-to-bump coverage, playing press. They got a safety over the top. And that is what I'm saying we got to do against Tyreek Hill all game long. Try to bump him at the line of scrimmage and always shadow this guy over the top with the safety. So he's talking about inside leverage. JC Jackson is pressing Tyreek Hill all game long during week 1 versus the Miami Dolphins. And what he's ultimately doing too is inside leverage. So when you have a player that's this dynamic, this fast, instead of just lining straight up macho, you take the inside shade, you take away the slant routes, you take away the crossers, right? You right when the ball is snapped, you go for the one shoulder, right? You're not going for just straight on him and allowing him to go both ways. So we were talking about doing inside leverage, inside press on Tyreek Hill, but he could always just go deep and run around that other edge and go running down the field. So that's why you have to have another safety over the top, especially a cover 2 zone where that safety starts kind of parachuting towards the sidelines a little bit. So it's ultra important to take away Tyreek Hill in that press, but you have to always keep in mind that he could still run it deep and go deep. Now, the chances and completion percentage of a deep pass is much, much harder statistically for any quarterback that's ever played the game. So, will Sean McDermott play those cards? So he could sell you, right? If you're playing inside, if Tyreek Hill is running inside routes all game long and JC Jackson of the Patriots is thinking that he's going to do an inside route or slant route, a crossing route, whatever it is, and then out of nowhere Tyreek Hill calls the Z Sky and they run it deep. So you got to keep that all in mind. So our defense really just has to keep that in mind, especially if the Bills know that he's playing inside shade. And if Jordan Poyer, Micah Hyde know that Trey White, Christian Benford are going to be playing this inside shade, you better believe Sean McDermott has the details to cover over the top. So Tyreek Hill right here, I'm going to kind of start breezing through a little bit faster of the video, but Tyreek Hill is just talking about the ultimate teammate for the Miami Dolphins. And really, to me, he is the spark for the Miami Dolphins. You know, he wants to bring that spark to them, right? So when he scores, it just electrifies that entire team. So I think it's even that much more important to shut down Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill really opens up this offense for the Miami Dolphins. So he just revealed the Chargers played a lot of man to man against Tyreek Hill, something that the Buffalo Bills will not do. And we really saw a lot of success for the Miami Dolphins against the Chargers, against the Broncos. They were kind of held up a little bit versus the Patriots. So we're already learning how to play Tyreek Hill on the Miami Dolphins. JC Jackson playing press and inside shade all game long on Tyreek Hill is the way to go with a safety over the top in that cloud coverage. That's the way to go. The Chargers here playing a lot of man coverage. You're going to listen to Tyreek Hill and talk about how this McDaniels offense just is really built to wear out man coverage. So he just said it. Route depth, route timing, just a little bit of everything, more complexity being in year two here with McDaniels and Tyreek Hill. They're definitely implementing a lot more to this offense. It's a better overall offense than what it was last year. And you could hear now Tyreek Hill's going to get into all the eye candy, all the motion that's occurring on a play to play basis. McDaniel gets Tyreek Hill, gets Jalen Waddle, these speedsters moving as the ball is snapped, and what that ultimately does to opposing teams. Now, Tyreek Hill actually ends up spilling the beans a little bit, saying that in some ways it's an advantage, but in other ways it's a disadvantage. And I really hope the Buffalo Bills are listening in on this video that Tyreek Hill talks about, because there are some things that he's almost openly admitting that he can't do when he is just flying in motion as the ball gets snapped. Listen in. And listen here, Tyreek Hill. I really think the Buffalo Bills need to point this out to the refs during the game. Now, I know it's a little tick tacky here, but look at what Tyreek Hill does himself to get off press coverage. And he's done this because press coverage works against him. Press coverage is the way to go against Tyreek Hill. He wouldn't be talking about this if press coverage wasn't a thing. So listen to what Tyreek Hill does. And in a way, the saying, if you're not cheating, you're not trying. Tyreek Hill's kind of skirting the line of the NFL here. You're going to see what I mean. So shorter cornerbacks, if he feels that he's stronger, more physical than the cornerback across from him, he's gonna get up closer to the line of scrimmage. But he isn't going to be facing that against the Buffalo Bills, and rarely is going to be facing that in the NFL. So look at what he does in order to get off press. Look at the I'm going to be on the line, but I'm going to be legal. And just look at the slight difference. Even if it's 6 inches there, it just makes the job to jam Tyreek Hill at the line of scrimmage that much harder. Just do this and it's over with. I mean, he just admitted it, guys. He literally just admitted it. Listen to Tyreek Hill admit that press coverage will shut him out. It's over with. So he wants to create that little bit of space. He's gonna be off the line but legal. He's creating a little bit of space. And I think Sean McDermott, the Buffalo Bills, should try to point this out during the game. Uh hopefully you guys are getting sound. I see the comments now. Joshua says no sound. Kate says no sound. Hopefully you guys are getting sound there. Just let me know if you guys aren't hearing anything. Exactly. So if we don't get hands on us, we win. If they don't get hands on us, we win. Those are Tyreek Hill's words. coming right out of the mouth of Tyreek Hill. So yeah, you guys could hear right from Tyreek Hill exactly how to play him, exactly how to beat him. And let me know in the chat if you guys could actually hear the actual interview from Tyreek Hill, the words of Tyreek Hill. But flat out, we heard Tyreek Hill specifically state that one, the Chargers played him in man coverage, right? They played him a lot of man and they did better against the Chargers. The hardest game for Tyreek Hill so far this season, it was against the Patriots. And what did they do? JC Jackson played inside shade. They pressed Tyreek Hill all game long, and they had a safety over the top for help. Now, Tyreek Hill went on to say how he plays in against press coverage. So when teams are pressing him, like JC Jackson, like the Buffalo Bills should do, he cheats off the line a little bit. He gives himself a little bit of space because as soon as that defensive back gets his hands on you, it's over with. It's over with. Appreciate that, Jay. I don't know how come that the interview sound isn't working there. Um, see if I can try and fix it before I start. But guys, comments, questions, concerns, get that in the chat. Audio input capture. Let's see what I got. I'm gonna try and do something here. Let's see. Hang on. Hopefully, this is connecting. Whoa. If you guys hear the sound, appreciate it. Trying to get the interview noise. I think you guys could hear it now. Are we good now? Joshua Price, Joshua Richardson. Appreciate you guys for letting me know about that. I could go back and play that, but there's so much more. I got many interviews here. Here. So listen to how the Patriots played, and we've already been discussing here. I'm sorry for the little bit of technical difficulties, but we could hear it now. Great, awesome. I fixed it. Uh, but yeah, just listen to what we were saying. We were talking about Tyreek Hill in the interview here, how teams have played him, that the Patriots have played him the best, and Tyreek Hill openly admitting that they played him press and inside shade coverage, and he's going to go into a little bit more detail about it now. Talking about Bill Belichick. So as soon as the ball is snapped, the safety is over the top of Tyreek Hill. We're not only pressing him and having inside shade on Tyreek Hill all game long, we're going to have a safety over the top in case he does try to do that Z Sky route that he called against the Broncos. So there is a lot of information that's already been revealed. Really? I don't know why it keeps stop. Oh, hang on, guys. I'm sorry about that. It was working and then it stopped, huh? I'm going to try and get it on really quick here. I think I could connect my iPhone and actually use my iPhone microphone. So it's not going through the computer. Uh, iPhone. Let's see here. Guys, comments, questions, concerns, get them in the chat there. We're going to be ripping through. I also have another interview here with Greg Cassell. I'm going to listen to really quick and just kind of give you the breakdown on. And then Tyreek Hill, finally, his actual press conference interview today goes on and reveals so many details uh, about the game plan here. So you start off with Tyreek Hill, all the news saying, oh man, Tyreek Hill saying the Buffalo Bills fan base, they're just like any other fan base. It's really not that special of a place, right? But man, Tyreek Hill said a lot more in the news the past couple weeks here that we could really use to our advantage. So let's just see if this is connected yet. Don't see that. You guys hear that? Hopefully that's working now. I think I got it. Let me know if you guys can hear that interview. So Tyreek Hill talking about how many weapons the Miami Dolphins has, right? Having to be able to lock down against multiple players. And if you do decide to run man against Tyreek Hill, you're going to have to chase him all game long. Tyreek Hill says that I feel like I can run all game long. Like players are not going to be able to keep up with my speed all game long and endurance all game long. So the Buffalo Bills definitely need to keep that in mind. And I know a lot of people are discussing the fact that bringing up Kyer Elam, Kyer Elam has not been called up yet for the Buffalo Bills. And when you look at what Kyer Elam presents, known to be a press coverage cornerback, right? Maybe better than any cornerback that we have on this team, but press coverage, there's a lot more to press coverage than just pressing at the line of scrimmage. Kyer Elam might be the most physical. He might have the longest reach. He might be good at jamming at the line of scrimmage, but what happens the rest of the play, right? So you have to keep that in mind. And I really am doubting that Sean McDermott is going to be calling man in this game. It's a very rare event. If any time we ever call man, the Bills, it's more like a zone match. So if someone comes into your zone, it turns into man and you cover that player. But I'm going to start playing the interview again. Let me know if you guys could hear it. So he's talking about the jet sweeps here, being able to run these jet sweeps or motioning as the ball is being snapped at full speed. And what that ultimately does against man coverage is he's saying, like, you're not going to be able to get your hands on me. I can outrun you. I could pretty much run anything that he wants to run. But yeah, I pretty much Melissa says can't hear on that, but pretty much Tyreek Hill just revealing so much about this interview here. I want to move on to this Greg Cassell one here too and see. I don't know why in the world you guys can hear me, but not the interview. I don't know. It's the strangest thing. You think you would. It's So he basically is saying that you have to pay attention to all the motion going on, right? They're sending people all different ways, and like how Colin Coward is saying, how are you going to stop it? Like, how could any team stop that if they're moving all over the place? How do you even play defense against that? And Greg Cassell is going to go on and say, well, what you have to do is force Tua to go through his progressions. You have to take away that first window, which is the whole point of this video here, is to take away that first option for Tua, to force him to go through his progressions, to hold on to that ball just a split second longer and bet that your defensive line is going to get home to Tua. Once Tua moves off his spot, once the play extends, if he has to make a throw while moving, that is not Tua. That is exactly where you want him. So the Buffalo Bills playing press, playing inside press against the Miami Dolphins and forcing to take away Tua's first option, forcing him to hold on to the ball a little bit longer is exactly how you beat him. The first window, and you have to get home as a defensive pass rush. We can't let Tua sit back there pretty. And that is exactly what the Buffalo Bills have done. And one thing that really helps us is the height that we have on this defensive line. Whether you even look at Leonard Floyd, Greg Rousseau, AJ Epinesa getting a pick six last week, 6'6", AJ Epinesa with his hands stretched all the way above his head, jumping 2-3 feet, however high he could jump. I mean, you're looking at throwing the ball over 9 feet, and what I really think, what people don't realize what happened on that AJ Epinesa interception in pick six, AJ Epinesa dropped back into coverage. Sean McDermott dropped AJ Epinesa back into coverage. He read the play and he jumped up and made an interception. And I really think the Buffalo Bills should consider that this week instead of just rushing Tua. Instead of just going in there and even just blitzing at times, why not play back? Why not play back, take a stand back and jump up, get our hands up in the air, block the first window for Tua. We know he wants to get the ball out quick. We have to force him to hold on to that football. If you don't take away the first option. Colin Coward, so Colin Coward went on to ask about the Buffalo Bills offense, right, and how well we've been doing here in 12 personnel, and how really the Miami Dolphins defense really played well. And we're going to be getting into that in future videos in the actual Miami Bills preview. But tonight, I just kind of want to talk about Tyreek Hill's comments, really exposing himself, how to beat him, how to beat the Miami Dolphins scheme, already going over quite a bit. And we really heard so far Tyreek Hill admit that JC Jackson and Bill Belichick and the Patriots have really played him the hardest that he's ever faced in his NFL career. Whether you have the fastest player on your team just shadowing him and running alongside Tyreek Hill all game long, which who knows? Maybe it is Kyrie Elam. Christian Benford is a fast cornerback too. Like Christian Benford could definitely keep up with them. Trey White isn't the fastest. He's not the fastest cornerback. He's a little bit more physical, I'd say, on the outside. And his change of direction skills are absolutely amazing. Don't get me wrong, but Here, I want to listen to Tyreek Hill too. He's going to talk a little bit more about his skill sets, and he's going to also further elaborate about a hindrance of these jet sweeps. You know, we talk about it being a threat. Tyreek Hill motioning as the ball is being snapped, running full speed, not the normal like jog as you go. But Tyreek Hill admits, like, hey, look, okay, there's advantages to this, but there's also disadvantages. Let's listen to what he has to say. So he admits it again, you know, like for me being a smaller guy, corners are not able to jam me at the line of scrimmage. That is why they're putting Tyreek Hill in motion. That's the whole purpose of this. That's why Tyreek Hill admitted in this video so far that he's off, he's on the line, but he's off the line and legal, right? Like he's trying to create as much space as he possibly can because word for word, once they get their hands on me, it's over with. Once they get their hands on me, it's over with, right? So he says, I like using my speed and I could run routes off of that speed. But he's gonna about to get into why it's a disadvantage. He's talking about how much he's progressed in this league. He did talk about that in the first interview too, as well. Like he learned a long time ago from someone that said, "Hey, you want to be a great football player in this league? You can't just rely on your speed. You have to learn the game. You have to know where the safeties are." And Tyreek Hill goes on to state here that he knows what the defense is doing, and if he sees the coverage, sometimes he's yelling at Tua to make sure he knows that he sees the right coverage, or maybe Tua's confused and he could just look at Tyreek Hill and Tyreek Hill tells him what's up. Yelling up coverage to Tua. He's talking about how fast they are. Miami Dolphins have ran the fastest, I think the top six fastest plays in the NFL right now. And Devon Chain or whatever everyone's calling him, the Miami Dolphins rookie of the week. Unbelievable talent there. Great, great job. And the Buffalo Bills have defensive player of the week, Terrell Bernard. He's talking about the jet sweeps, him being in motion, and how that wears down defenses throughout the game. Tyreek Hill says, "Oh, for sure, it definitely does wear him down." So teams can't play man to man against me all game because it wears throughout the game, it wears them down. So this really brings up the question here with Dane Jackson and Kyer Elam and Christian Benford and Trey White and the ability to rotate and the ability to bring guys in throughout the game and keeping them fresh. And knowing that our practice squad was actually doing that this week, simulating that to maintain the speed for Tyreek Hill. Andy Isabella in the scout team this week was being rotated out every other play so he can keep his breath, so he can maintain that high level of speed to help mimic Tyreek Hill in practice this week. So we could potentially see a rotation of the Buffalo Bills DBs, keeping them fresh throughout the game if Sean McDermott throws a complete oddball screwball at Miami and plays man. So we heard Tyreek Hill state that the best defense he ever went against was Bill Belichick because he had one player shadow him all game long in man coverage. Wherever Tyreek Hill went, this player went. And it was usually the most athletic, fastest player on the Patriots defense. And he said not only that, they had a safety over the top, always looking at Tyreek Hill. So no matter where Tyreek Hill was, he said that safety turned and looked right at him all game long. So Tyreek Hill, you couple this all together. Tyreek Hill saying, well, you could do that, but you can't do it all game long because that man is going to get tired. So the question is, do the Buffalo Bills have enough to maybe rotate that man, keeping that man fresh? Kyer Elam, Christian Benford, maybe working in rotation against Tyreek Hill. Trey White, too, getting in there, working in a rotation. Jalen Waddle is going to be a go this week, too. So definitely need a little bit more hands on deck. I can run all day, basically. So. He's talking about the motion here. Hopefully, you guys can hear it. How much does running starts help the receivers in motion? The interviewer said. Tyreek Hill says, well, it's kind of a pro and a con. So he's openly admitting that this jet motion before the ball gets snapped, having Tyreek Hill running full speed across the field has positives and there are negatives. He's openly admitting some hidden information here, exposing the Miami Dolphins offense. He says, okay, the pro is that it allows taller, stronger DBs to not get their hands on them. And that's what we've been talking about this whole entire video. Tyreek Hill being in motion, right? People playing inside press against him because he's so hard to get the hands on him. Tyreek Hill backing off that line. Even if he's on the line, he says, I want to back off as much as I can and be legal. So he's trying to do whatever he can to create a little bit of space in between him and the defender because, per his words, once that defender gets his hands on him, it's over. And that's the negative, right? He's like, man, well, okay, the positive is you can't jam him, right? But the negative is he's saying, well, how am I supposed to run this particular route when I'm running full speed? Because he's got to stop. He's got to eventually break down, make a cut. And if he's running full speed, when you're talking about running a route at a certain depth, right, at getting to a certain point at a certain time, and he's got to break down and make that move to that point, right? Or at a certain depth, it's very hard when you're moving that fast. So there are pros, there are disadvantages to this. And I think the Bills should understand if Tyreek Hill is in a jet sweep, if he is running as fast as he freaking can across the line of scrimmage, chances are the ball's either going to come out immediately to him, right? Tua's going to get the ball out in a screenplay, or it's going to be late. It's not going to be a medium type pass. So I think initially that motion could be a first window throw that we've been talking about stopping. So we have to do whatever we can. That first window throw could be a Tyreek Hill screen in the flats, but it's not going to be a second option. It's going to be a third, right? It's going to take some time to develop after that. If Tua doesn't throw the ball to Tyreek Hill in a jet sweep going across the field, right? It's gonna take a little bit more time for Tyreek Hill to run an actual route. It's either going to be a home run threat down the field, or Tyreek Hill's eventually going to have to slow his pace, break down, make a cut, make a route, make a move, and it's just going to be a little bit longer. So we're talking about having Tua hold on to the ball as long as possible, taking away that first window, that first option for Tua. We eliminate that. We force Tua to go through his progressions. We force Tua to hold onto the ball, and we bet on this defensive line to get home. Advantages and disadvantages, he said. He said it's all about wanting to do it and help this team out. So it's not even all about Tyreek Hill. Like this, the motion that Tyreek Hill is going in is not about Tyreek Hill. It's about kind of a distraction. It's about the eye candy element. It's about the threat of what if Tyreek Hill, So I really think that these jet sweeps that are going on with Tyreek Hill flying, I didn't do the stats, but I'm thinking from what he said, majority of the time, he doesn't get the ball on those plays. Majority of the time, Tyreek Hill is not getting the ball on those plays. It's really opening up the rest of the offense. But I'd be interested to know how many times he got the ball on those plays. Guys, comments, questions, concerns in the chat. Kind of ripping through this interview here. I know the sound, we had some technical difficulties with the sound being on and off. We got some beautiful Thursday night football going on today. Green Bay Packers and the Detroit Lions. Couple of rookie tight ends going on here, and I Luke Musgrave, Sam Laporta, and sure enough, Rob Gronkowski comes out and says that Sam Laporta is going to have a better rookie year than Dalton Kincaid. Rob Gronkowski said Sam Laporta should have been the first tight end taken in this year's NFL draft from what he's seen on tape. Gronkowski is super, super high on Sam Laporta. So you guys can check out the rookie tight end, Sam Laporta, rookie tight end, Luke Musgrave of the Green Bay Packers tonight, and also the Detroit Lions. It's going to be great, great thing to watch. But again, just to finally summarize everything that really occurred here, Tyreek Hill basically spilling the beans, not only on himself, but also the Miami Dolphins offensive schemes. And I really, really think the number one goal here is to press Tyreek Hill. You want to press Tyreek Hill in any way that you can. And when they put him in motion, right, it's going to definitely make things a little bit harder, but you have to have a safety over the top. So whatever side Tyreek Hill goes to, we're going to have Jordan Poyer. We're going to have Micah Hyde spying Tyreek Hill over the top at all freaking times. And then we're going to depend on this pass rush to get to Tua. And it's not only always pass rushing, right? AJ Epenesa's pick six last week, he dropped back into coverage. AJ Epinesa dropped back into coverage and actually ended up getting that interception last week for a pick six. Absolutely unbelievable stuff. But guys, comments, questions, concerns, get that in the chat there. James says, we're going to eat some fish. Yeah, we're going to we're going to have a fish fry. You got to squish that fish this weekend. But I really think, there's a few things Sean McDermott should definitely eye on, point at the refs and be like, hey, look, is Tyreek Hill really on the line of scrimmage? Because he was basically saying in that interview, like, I'm going to try and sneak off that line as far as I can. I'm going to be on the line. I'm going to be that X. I'll be that X wide receiver. I'll be technically on the line, but I'm going to back up a little bit, and man, they're tough threat from Tyreek Hill here. But, not only talking bad about Bills Mafia, not only talking bad about our stadium and that, it's just like any other fan base. It's just like any other place, kind of taking his jab at Bills Mafia. But I'll tell you what, we're ready. We're ready. We got to defend our dirt, like Sean McDermott would say. This is our house. We cannot lose at home. The AFC East needs to run through Orchard Park and needs to run through our freaking stadium without a doubt. And I know Sean McDermott, the first year here, calling defensive plays, is going to do some big-time freaking things for the Buffalo Bills. It would not surprise me if we did see Kaiir Elam get called up just simply to keep our players fresh throughout the game. Christian Benford, Dane Jackson, Trey White, and also Kaiir Elam. Don't forget about Taylor Rapp, too. I know Jordan Poyer was no practice today, which is a little bit concerning. And I don't know, is Taylor Rapp faster than Jordan Poyer? I think Taylor Rapp might be a little bit overall faster than Jordan Poyer at this point in his career. And he's a ferocious, ferocious hitter. And don't forget about the added speed with Terrell Bernard and Matt Milano. I mean, clearly a faster linebacker core than last year when we played Miami. I mean, Tremaine Edmonds versus Tyreek Hill or Terrell Bernard versus Tyreek Hill, right? And you look at the overall stats, the game-changing plays. You know, Miami scored 70 points last week simply because of that defense. Their defense, that Vic Fangio-led defense, completely balled out. You know, I believe it was 3 turnovers. I believe they had 3 turnovers, the Miami Dolphins versus Broncos. So it wasn't just their offense. Like their defense really balled out. And Bradley Chubb, right? Bradley Chubb played for the Denver Broncos. Revenge game. Vic Fangio, the defensive coordinator who was with Bradley Chubb in Denver and also defensive coordinator in Denver, went against the Broncos last week with Miami. What do you think they were going to do? Talk about a revenge freaking game. They went nuts. They went absolutely nuts. And just to show you the stats here, I just pulled it up really quick. Just to show you here, the 70-20 game, right? And the Miami Dolphins defense, we got to check the stats here, right? So look, Broncos, they lost 2 fumbles and they threw 1 interception. They had 3 turnovers in that game. I mean, it's just insane. You had 3 turnovers. You had 3 turnovers. Unreal. Absolutely unreal. I think, we saw it with Josh Allen in the Bills. I mean, 3 interceptions and a fumble? It's hard to win those games. It's absolutely hard to win those games. Leo says, I hope we stop Hill at every turn. His arrogance is motivation. I completely agree. Well said, Leo. Yeah, we gotta show him one. We gotta show him what Buffalo's all about. We gotta make them feel Buffalo. We gotta make them feel what Buffalo is all about Sunday here. James says, don't forget about Waddle, Raheem, and a chain. Yeah, I mean, the speed that the Miami Dolphins have. And that's really, really why it's so important to have long, sustained drives to win the time of possession in this game. And I'm not saying do anything different because Ken Dorsey has been doing it regardless so far this season. A new short passing game attack, some new route trees for the Buffalo Bills wide receivers, 12 personnel, 13 personnel running the football, Josh Allen in play action under center. Like Ken Dorsey is calling a magical offensive scheme so far in 2023. I don't want him to change a single thing versus the Miami Dolphins. I'm not saying Ken Dorsey run the ball more versus Miami because of the threat of their offense. I'm not saying, hey, do this more, do this less because of Miami. I'm saying do what we need to do to score points. You listen to Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs and all the players, all the offensive players this week and today talking, every time they get the ball, their goal is to score points. And Josh Allen went on and said, this week it's not even about field goals. It's about touchdowns. We need to score touchdowns in the red zone. He even said that Vic Fangio is one of the best defensive coordinators in the red zone. And that's simply because he calls the 61 tilt. It's a great defensive scheme, stacking the box with 6 defensive backs and linebackers. It's really, really tough, but it's good in the goal line. It's good in goal line situations, but in the middle of the field, 61 tilt defensive scheme, Buffalo Bills and Josh Allen, to have like a single high safety, you're not doing that. So there is a real opportunity here for James Cook to pop off in this game, for Damian Harris to pop off in this game. And you look at the matchup, Josh Allen versus the Broncos, a Vic Fangio-led defense in the Broncos. Vic Fangio in 2020 was in year 2 of his defensive scheme with the Broncos. Josh Allen went in there and threw for 350 yards. He had 2 passing touchdowns, a rushing touchdown, and no interceptions. He completely balled out. Stephon Diggs in his first year with the Buffalo Bills in that game had 147 passing yards. Cole Beasley had over 100 yards receiving on 8 receptions. So you look at it, and I think Vic Fangio is going to have a very similar style defense to what the Denver Broncos had in 2020. And I think now with the Bills, and you couple where we are, Stephon Diggs a few years deep with Josh Allen, clearly better than what he was going against Vic Fangio's defense in year 2. Now Vic Fangio's in Miami, only year 1 as as the defensive coordinator. And we have Stephon Diggs for a few years of revamped offensive line with Osiris Torrance, Mitch Morris. Like Spencer Brown is showing glimpses of excellence. The highest paid free agent for the Buffalo Bills, Connor McGovern, is balling out. Deion Dawkins is off to a Pro Bowl year once again. And this is just absolutely great to see. And then the addition of Dalton Kincaid, Deontay Hardy, Trent Sherfield in the slot, Khalil Shakir capitalizing on every single target that he's had. Whether it's a touchdown or first down, Khalil Shakir has been an X factor for the Buffalo Bills. And you look at that Broncos game, that was one of Josh Allen's hardest throws that he ever made, splitting those 2 high safeties to Jake Kumaro in the end zone. And I think Josh Allen's going to cook at least a few of those up this game, splitting those 2 high safeties, those 2 safety shell that teams are starting to play and take a book out of the Buffalo Bills page, forcing offenses to call a high number of plays to march all the way down the field to score. We know that offenses, it takes all 11 for an offensive play to be successful, whereas on defense, you don't necessarily say that. It doesn't always take all 11 on defense to still make a play. So when you force an offense to call a high number of plays to march all the way down the field and score, the chances of a mistake, the chance of one of those 11 players on any of those plays screws up is awfully high. So to eliminate explosive plays being more than 15, 20 yards, we really have to focus on that as a defense this week. Eliminate the chunk plays, be sound in our tackling, just do everything that we've been doing. We don't need to be anything different. We need to dictate to the Miami Dolphins. We are good enough to dictate. We could run the ball in 12 personnel. We could run the ball with 3 tight ends, right? We can go out and spread. We could do play action with Josh Allen under center now. I mean, it's never been that way. Josh Allen under center has not happened. It has not happened, and that is so huge. It's so huge, and that's why I asked Greg Cassell at the beginning of the season. I was like, what's the difference between an RPO play action and an under center quarterback play action? And he even said, like, when you're under center as a quarterback and you're doing the play action, you got to have the whole play. It's so drawn out and extended and long, right? Because you're selling the run or a stretch run and the defense is moving over. I mean, the play is a lot longer. And what it does is it allows tight ends, wide receivers, a lot longer time to get open. So Bills really need to utilize that this game and just continue to do what we're doing. Alpha Rob says the Bills will move the ball on Finn's defense easy and our D-line will dominate the game. I agree, man. I totally agree with that comment. The Buffalo Bills could definitely punch the Dolphins in the mouth. And I really think, especially running the ball against 3-4 defenses, they're typically not making plays in the backfield. They're not making tackles for loss. And that's another huge aspect of this game. So we're talking about long, sustained drives, winning the time of possession. But the thing that has happened so far this season is that we've done that. And the reason why we're doing that is because we're gaining yards on every single play. We're not being in long situations like years past. Unfortunately, in overtime versus the Jets, we get the ball. We're about to march down the field on first down. Spencer Brown false start puts us in 1st and 15. And that is probably why we lost. I would honestly, right when I saw that happen, I was like, there we go. You have to make sure you're gaining 2 to 3 yards every single play at a minimum, usually 3 yards. If you're not gaining 3 yards every single play, you're going to make third down awfully hard. So we need to focus on gaining yardage every single play offensively. And I think the Bills could definitely run it. We have Ken Dorsey's short passing game attack, the play action under center, the RPO. I mean, we're doing a lot too. I know Miami's got a lot of speed, a lot of eye candy and motion. We doing it too, baby. We doing it too. Ray Finkel says, I would like Josh Allen if he was the Dolphin, but since he isn't, I'm required to hate him this week. Oh, that's great. You seem like a great fan, Ray. Appreciate you, man. Yeah, it's going to be a great rivalry week. I mean, it's just beautiful. That's what the NFL is all about. That's what the NFL is all about. You got great entertainment, great storylines. You know, the rookie offensive player of the week in Achan, right? We have the defensive player of the week in Terrell Bernard, 70 points for Miami, 5 turnovers for the Buffalo Bills. The storyline between McDaniels and McDermott, you know, I love it. I'm loving this. And, you know, it's really the story of, you know, offense versus defense. You got the offensive mind, the offensive genius of Mike McDaniels versus the defensive genius of Sean McDermott in the first year he's ever called defensive plays for the Buffalo Bills. It's truly a battle of the modern era offense versus the modern era defense. I cannot wait to see what's going to unfold here. Alpha Rob says the height of the Bills D-line will knock down a lot of balls. We've been talking about it. Greg Rousseau, Leonard Floyd is even tall. AJ Epinesa, I mean, getting those hands up, 6'6", 6'7". And the other thing the Bills do with Greg Rousseau, he'll be lined up at D end, but we'll stunt him over the center and guard. We'll stunt him in the inside. And as he's stunning, I call him the stunt monster. Greg Rousseau, the stunt monster, will come in right over the center and guard and jump up with his hands in the air. He'll jump up as high as he can with his Tarzan hands in the air. I mean, I think the Buffalo Bills defensive line presents one of the hardest tasks for Tua out of any team in the NFL simply because of our height, simply because of the height. And I still say that we drop them into coverage. You know, if we know that it's a sure passing down, and if we're unable to take away Tua's first option for in the game, if we're unable to take away Tua's first window throw during the game, it might be advantageous for us to not even rush, to play back and jump, you know, play off the ball and jump up in the air. So I really think Sean McDermott is going to bring a wealth of knowledge into this game, a wealth of difference to this game. We're going to definitely bring a difference that Miami has yet to see from the Bills defensively. And we've already seen it in 2023, guys. This Bills defense is legit, is absolutely legit. Daniel says Terrell Bernard, TB, will be the X factor on most of those speedy receiver covers. Something we did not have last year, was able to execute with Edmonds. So well said, dude. And I agree. You know, Terrell Bernard, 100% better than Edmonds in pass coverage by far. And the proof is in the pudding. The proof is in the stats. Terrell Bernard has 3 game starts at middle linebacker for the Buffalo Bills. He's got 2 interceptions, right? I mean, are you kidding me? Back-to-back weeks interceptions. He's got 2 sacks, Terrell Bernard. You look at Tremaine Edmonds, he's played 77 games. Tremaine Edmonds has 5 interceptions. That's it. And also a fumble recovery. Tremaine Edmonds does not have 1 single fumble recovery. You know, after 77 games, you didn't land on the fumble once. I mean, that's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy. Terrell Bernard, after 3 games, 2 interceptions, already has a fumble recovery, multiple sacks. Tremaine Edmonds only has 6.5 sacks in his career. I mean, it's just insane what Terrell Bernard is presenting here. I know we talk about the coverage abilities and all those things, and I was definitely thinking more interceptions, more batted balls, you know, but the real question was, like, how is he going to be? Like, fumble recoveries, forced fumbles, total tackles against the run. How is he blitzing? And he's balling out of control. He has sacks. He's got like everything. He's doing everything so well, Terrell Bernard. It's just so great to see. And I agree. Much different linebacker crew than what we had last year. So much more speed for the Buffalo Bills to match up things. And you look, really, they have all wide receivers. They don't even have really tight ends. So another fact here, too, the Bills could very well opt to come out and dime defense. And we've seen it with the Buffalo nickel. We call it the big nickel, replacing Taron Johnson with Taylor Rapp, getting a little bit more beef out there. Well, will the Buffalo Bills maybe consider just maybe having just Terrell Bernard out there as the only linebacker in pass coverage and bring in Taron Johnson and Taylor Rapp on the field? Could we see Taron Johnson and Taylor Rapp on the field? Let me know in the comments there. I want to close the poll that we have listed there as well on the channel. Will the Buffalo Bills be able to stop Tyreek Hill? Got to close that poll. I'm going to end it and show you guys here. So 78% on 33 votes said yes, 21% said no. So, and then I'm going to just end it with this poll here. You guys think we will see Taron Johnson and Taylor Rapp on the field at the same time in a dime defense? Will Sean McDermott roll out a dime defense against the Dolphins? And you consider all the speed that they have, right? The speed that the Waddle is going to be playing this week too. Tyreek Hill, Raheem Mostert, Achan, whatever you want to call him, Peter Pan. Rob says Edmonds has size but no instincts, and that's the other thing with Edmonds. Man, Alpha, I know you've been watching my channel here, and we were discussing instincts well before the NFL draft. Leading into this year's NFL draft, this was the criticism I was giving Edmonds and why I fell so in love with Jack Campbell, why I thought the Bills were going to be pursuing Jack Campbell with that first overall pick, but he got stolen by the Detroit Lions, who's going to be playing tonight. But yes, I agree. Terrell Bernard has the instincts. He has the Buffalo Bills DNA. There's a reason why Sean McDermott and Brandon Beane drafted this kid into Buffalo. Thank God we did, losing Edmonds the following year. But ultimately, this is about evolving as a whole entire team, evolving into being a winning perennial team. And I've been saying it here, and I hate to keep repeating myself for all of you that have been watching me, but this team has evolved. Josh Allen, Tremaine Edmonds were drafted the same exact year. Jokes were that we got the quarterback of our offense and we have the quarterback of our defense the year Tremaine Edmonds was signed, and Josh Allen. The same year Edmonds and Allen were drafted. And we really didn't know what was going to happen. You really don't know. We didn't know Josh Allen was going to turn into the best quarterback in the NFL. We didn't know Josh Allen was going to be able to lead the offense the way he's leading this offense and make the throws and do the running and the hurdling and literally be one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. So as that transpired throughout the years, as this has developed into our offense and how we have decided to beat teams, we run up the score offensively. We force teams to pass the ball. You can't run the ball against a team that's up by 2 or 3 possessions, especially late in the game, because the clock keeps running. So the Buffalo Bills, we run up the score offensively. We go up by 2 or 3 possessions in games. We force teams to pass. But what did we have? Tremaine Edmonds, who isn't good against the pass, who doesn't fit. He didn't fit the Buffalo Bills DNA anymore. Tremaine Edmonds, we evolved past Tremaine Edmonds. At that time when Josh Allen was a rookie and we had LaShawn McCoy and Frank Gore, and rookie Devin Singletary, and we were running the ball a little bit and kind of grinding things out throughout the games, not putting it all on Josh Allen's shoulders, right? We have evolved past that. Now it is pretty much all on Josh Allen's shoulders. Now he is slanging the ball all around the field. Now he is calling the plays at the line of scrimmage. Buffalo Bills, we have the linebacker of the future. We have the linebacker that fits the recipe to win. We have the linebacker that was built for Buffalo. Terrell Bernard brings the speed, the pass coverage, and the ability that we need for game-changing plays. Giving the ball back to Josh Allen, giving this offense more opportunities to score, more opportunities for everyone on this offense to score touchdowns and just more yards, pad those stats. Guys, comments, questions, concerns, get them in the chat. Always 2 seconds late. No one says it's a Buffalo stream. So what do you think we're going to pay? That's right. That's right. Squish that fish. Squish that fish. We're going to beat them up this weekend. That's right. And I love it. Miami got so hyped, right? Miami's so hyped last year that they beat us in Miami. The Heat. Don't forget about how heat, how hot it was. And we were in the sun, they were in the shade. I mean, there's a big difference there, big difference. And I know a lot of Dolphins fans say, oh, well, we only lost by 2 points against you guys and we didn't have Tua, So there's a lot, but we didn't have Trey White. We didn't have Micah Hyde. We didn't have Von Miller in that game. They were all out. We had Tremaine Edmonds. Christian Benford was also banged up. I think, who was it at that point? I think it was actually Trey White was back at that point, but Trey White wasn't 100% himself. Trey White had to have this whole offseason, and now we're starting to see the old Trey White again too. So, Miami, I think, is going to be freaking shocked. Miami's going to be shocked to see the difference of the Buffalo Bills. They just got the wrong impression of us last year, Bills Mafia. I think they're thinking we're not as good as we really are. Like we are freaking super good. And just wait until freaking Von Miller comes back. I cannot wait until freaking Von Miller comes back. It's going to be absolutely great. But just to kind of summarize tonight's video, we spoke about it. Tyreek Hill literally exposes himself, talking about the Buffalo Bills stadium being like any other stadium across the league, that it's nothing special. I think we got to show up as a fan base to show out Tyreek Hill and what we're all about here. I really think that's huge. But he also went on to say, I think that news is overshadowing what Tyreek Hill ultimately said this week about the advantages and disadvantages of the eye candy with Mike McDaniel and also Tyreek Hill. So there's advantages, there's disadvantages, but Tyreek Hill also openly admitted that press coverage is how you beat him. Press coverage is exactly how you beat Tyreek Hill. Inside shade press coverage with the safety over the top. That's exactly how you shut down Tyreek Hill. It's exactly how you shut down Jalen Waddle. That's how you shut down these speedsters. And we're going to have to do that. We're going to definitely have to do that. We're going to have to rely on these perimeter cornerbacks. We're going to have to rely on our safeties, Micah Hyde, Jordan Poyer, Trey White, Christian Benford. The secondary is going to have to be on fire. We have to take away that first window throw, that first option for Tua. We have to force Tua to hold on to the ball a little bit longer, force him to go through his progressions, and bet that our defensive line, which has been on fire, get home to Tua and lay him out. Ed Oliver, Leonard Floyd, Daquan Jones. I mean, everyone has freaking been balling out of control. AJ Epinesa with his pick six. I mean, we have just been doing it so freaking well here. Absolutely unbelievable. Carl says, this is the game where the difference between Leslie Frazier and Sean McDermott will show. McDermott will play tighter, more physical, and chip the receivers in the first 5 yards to slow them down. No soft D. Yo, Carl, great comment. And yes, Leslie Frazier, he would rotate against Miami Dolphins in years past. He would play in press, and then he would play off. He would play press, he'd play off. He would kind of mix things up throughout the game. And I would sit here and wonder, like, no, you got to play in press every single play, like the Patriots, and like a stubborn defense. Play him press every single play, inside shade, jam him at the line of scrimmage, safety over the top, every single freaking play, every dang play, without a doubt. That's how you beat them. No one says they're hyped because they're legit. To be honest, they've evolved more than we have since last year. It's going to be a close game that comes down to penalties and turnovers. Miami Dolphins are in year 2 with that offensive scheme with McDaniels. Tyreek Hill even openly admitting that there's a lot more depth concepts. There's a lot more timing going on in the offense. Tua is clearly a lot more comfortable, but I really think the Buffalo Bills defense has made some dramatic changes. And if you've been listening in on the interviews and everything that's occurred this offseason, all the players and surrounding coaches have said the difference between McDermott and Leslie Frazier is the attention to detail, the attention to the details. And I know for a fact, Buffalo Bills have not only gotten better from a player aspect, Trey White coming off an ACL injury last year. We didn't have Micah Hyde. We didn't have Von Miller. We had Tremaine Edmonds as linebacker. Buffalo Bills are in much better shape with Sean McDermott calling plays, without a doubt. Offensively, too, I think the Buffalo Bills offense has evolved. Miami Dolphins defense is definitely evolved a little bit. I think they're playing better this year than last year. Last year was a complete disgrace for the amount of talent on that defense, but it is year one for that defensive scheme. So, I think maybe if anything, you guys compared to the last end of the year last year defense and right now, you guys are probably on par with one another on the defensive side. Bills, I think offensively and defensively, have clearly improved. Ken Dorsey with 12 personnel, 13 personnel, the addition of Dalton Kincaid, Connor McGovern, Osiris Torrance, Damian Harris, Latavius Murray, and James Cook in year two. I mean, this Bills are definitely trending up a lot more than Miami, I would say. It's just the hype, Miami and clicks. You got national media, right? Miami's a huge freaking city, small market Buffalo. We're not doing a lot of selling, right? We're not creating a lot of views. We're not creating a lot of numbers for a lot of the national media. Just like all the hype around the Jets, we're seeing so much turmoil around the Jets right now. Garrett Wilson and everyone looking around like, what the heck are we going to do, right? They put so much in Aaron Rodgers that this season could really ruin it. There could be some real dysfunction going on in that locker room. I mean, you got to know Dalvin Cook has got to be upset that he went to the Jets. Dalvin Cook might not even be there next year. He might opt to go to a different team. And you look at all those expiring contracts, Jordan Whitehead, who picked off Josh Allen, 3 freaking times, is in the final year of his contract for the New York Jets. He might not even be there for the New York Jets next year if Rodgers even comes back. So that's a huge loss for the Jets. I think, all the hype saying the Buffalo Bills Super Bowl window is closing. Man, I would say the Jets and Miami, your Super Bowl window hasn't even really opened yet, to be honest. I think you guys are tiptoeing there, but you got to get through us. You got to get through us. You can't press someone that's in motion at full speed. You haven't really been. I think you're just tuned in now. No one should go back to the rest of the video. We kind of already went over that. Tyreek Hill openly admitting that there's positives, there's advantages and disadvantages to a man in motion, and you can't. It's definitely harder. That's the benefit of putting him in motion, is that you can't get your hands on him, right? But there are things that you could do to still cover him with 2 men all game long. Daniel says, any word on Poona Ford? You would definitely help us stop the run game. He's a load, huh? Short, low to the ground. Football's a leverage game. Definitely help us stop the run here. He has a high motor, too. Definitely has a high motor. I don't know how much running the Miami Dolphins are going to be doing in this game, but we'll obviously, they were really successful last week with that play action shovel pass. So it was like an I formation play action shovel pass. And it was just a great scheme, a great play call. Yeah, I mean, the Broncos too, man. The Broncos defense is not the Buffalo Bills defense. I mean, this is the Buffalo Bills freaking defense. Yeah, I really looked at that game. I watched the game. The Broncos played soft all game long. They didn't blitz once. They gave up. It was like they wanted to get beat that bad. Plus, Miami's defense had 3 turnovers. So I like that 13 personnel also. Yeah, 13 personnel. We could literally slug it to Miami. And we just got to stick with what works. If we're running the ball and it's successful, just keep running the football. I really don't think we're going to change anything that we do because of the Miami Dolphins. We need to continue to dictate to Miami without a doubt. But answer on that poll really quick. We're going to see here. Do you guys think Taron Johnson and Taylor Rapp will be in the dime package potentially because of all the speed on the Miami Dolphins? And look at this. We got 77% that says yes, 22% says no. But I kind of like that idea, the philosophy of having Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill, Raheem Mostert, Achane, all these guys out there and all the speed. Why not go out there in a dime package? Why not have Taron Johnson and Taylor Rapp out there? Be interesting. Hopefully Jordan Poyer is a go. I know he has been taking some veteran rest days. We shall see. I want the Bills to get Knox and Kincaid deep in the middle of the field. That deep, the Vic Fangio defense and those 2 high safety shells, you could definitely split them right down the middle. I'm definitely thinking Knox in this game is going to have a big game. James Cook is going to have a big game and Stephon Diggs. and Damian Harris. I think Damian Harris, he hasn't had the biggest games. He's gotten touchdowns, minimal rushing yards, but I really think James Cook, Damian Harris are going to go for a lot of rushing yards in this game. You look at how successful we were against Vic Fangio in the Denver Broncos game in 2020. Stephon Diggs, 147 receiving yards. Cole Beasley, 8 receptions and 100+ receiving yards. I think we're going to kind of mimic those same stats, but with different players. Kincaid playing in that slot type role for the Bills could definitely eat up a lot of those Cole Beasley stats. Stephon Diggs is already 3 years deep with Josh Allen. That's when he was with his first year with Josh Allen. So maybe we see freaking more yards for Stephon Diggs and Josh Allen this week too. But man, I think we're going to be in great shape against Miami Dolphins here. I know their offense and all the hype, all the speed, and McDaniels being a young coach and genius creative plays. Sean McDermott saying he's revolutionary. He's creating plays that the NFL has never seen before, which is so true, and scheming up things. And being that they are in year 2, there's a lot more groove, a lot more complexity with that offense going on. But again, Sean McDermott, first time calling plays for the Buffalo Bills here. A true storyline between McDermott and McDaniels. The Buffalo Bills Defensive Player of the Week last week with Terrell Bernard going against the Rookie Offensive Player of the Week and Devon Chain. I think the storylines here are just so special. You got defensive-minded McDermott, offensive-minded McDaniels, true modern offense going against a true modern defense. Let the freaking show begin. Buffalo Bills are going to squish that freaking fish. We're going to squish the fish. I promise you. And we got to jam Tyreek Hill. I don't even care if he goes in motion. If Tyreek Hill goes in motion, it's either a first option throw or they're throwing it deep. So it doesn't even matter if you can't jam him. It doesn't even matter. As long as if we keep eyes on him, I'm telling you, we're going to be good. We're going to be good, guys. I promise you. Jordan Poyer wasn't getting a veteran rest day. He was out with knee soreness. Hopefully he feels 100% on Sunday. Appreciate that, Carl. I know Greg Cassell on his interview today said, a lot of these veteran players, they've been taking extra rest days and stuff. So we shall see. I know Sean McDermott did state that he's day-to-day. It's a big game. It's a divisional game, AFC East game at home here. We have to defend our dirt. Some people talking about Reed Ferguson potentially being out with a wrist injury. I mean, no. Take some Advil, get out there. A wrist injury is not going to stop our long snapper from playing in this game. Oh, gosh. And I know some people were wondering who the backup will be. I don't know. I heard potentially Ryan Bates, a backup long snapper for the Buffalo Bills this week. But we shall see. Bills Mafia, it's going to be a great storyline. I am going to be going live here again before the game, during the game, releasing videos daily here. Check out my latest video that I dropped today. I put so much effort into this video, breaking down Vic Fangio's defense, all those different zone coverages that he calls, the positives, the negatives of Vic Fangio's defense. We compared it to Josh Allen's success against him when he was Denver Broncos head coach and running that defense. Charity, I appreciate you, man. Good seeing you, dude. Thank you for joining tonight. But you guys are all freaking awesome. I appreciate every single one of you so freaking much. That's what this NFL is all about. Be where your feet are. Memories. I mean, this is a game that we could remember for an awfully long time. And I'm so grateful the Buffalo Bills are this good. It's just an exciting time to be a Buffalo Bills fan. But get hyped up, Bills Mafia. I appreciate every single one of you. Enjoy your Thursday night football, and I will see you soon. Go Bills.